This one is a lot easier to move in the hand than the Hanwei sword is. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, gang, we're back to do some more of the fire axe test. This time we're going to be using two-handed swords. So I have a new block of, again, used archery foam. I have my spike set up again. Who knows how long it'll last, since last time, obviously, it came out. I've tried to reinforce it a little bit. I might get 1 strike in, I might get 10 strikes in. We'll go until it gives out on us. We shouldn't compare any of the results in absolute terms to the results we got last time when using the single-handed swords. This block is different. This one has been used slightly differently. It's been sitting out in the rain. It's probably soaked with water. So we'll only use it to compare swords to other swords. But just for fun, I will do the very first strike using a single-handed sword using the Landsknecht that we used last time, which I think scored, was it 19 centimeters? Let's see. So this time I only got to around 15 centimeters or so. So perhaps a little bit denser, this foam, than the last foam we were working with. Let's start with the big swords. Okay, so the first of the big sword is going to be the Hanwei Tinker-Pierce Great Sword of War, type 13A. Again, Great Sword of War, which is an early type of longsword. So this is a hand-and-a-half sword. You can use 2 hands on it. You can use it one-handed. I will be using it two-handed for this strike. So that time got to about 17 centimeters. I'll try one more. Got to about 19 centimeters and a little bit. Now, something I didn't mention last time is, compared to cutting against an actual target like human flesh, this is going to behave a lot more like ballistics gel. So when you're cutting through a fleshy target, there's a lot of resistance up until you break through the skin. And then after that, the actual muscle, etc., offers very little resistance. And that way, a human target is much more like cutting through a water bottle, where there's initial resistance, and then once you break the surface, whoosh, it just slides through after that. Whereas with something like ballistics gel, the interior material is not self-lubricating. And so as you go deeper and deeper and deeper, the friction against the blade builds more and more and more. A wider blade may actually encounter more resistance the deeper you go through the target. I suspect the archery foam is the same, and it will tend to slow down the blade the deeper it goes. So we'll see if that makes a difference depending on the profile of the blade or not. So 17 and 19. Let's see what's next. Another great sword of war, this time from Albion, a type 12A, the Baron. First strike, 19 and a half. This one is a lot easier to move in the hand than the Hanwei sword is. I'll tell you that right now. It's a mini review in comparison. And the next one about 18. Okay, everyone wants to see what this is going to do. This is the Song Zhanmadao from LK Chen. So this is not going to move fast. It's going to hit very, very hard. It's got a very thick spine and a wedge-shaped design. It is sharp. It does have a sharp edge. It could be a little sharper, but it's paper cutting sharp. And I have no idea what this is going to do. It may be that the blade is so wide that the friction is going to work against it. Let's see what happens. And again, I'm hitting with about 70% force. I'm not going maximum beans. So that went about 15 centimeters, the first strike. Oh, all right. Uh-oh. Did I go through some? I didn't. I went right next to one of my previous cuts, but it went through a new channel, and so I will say that this one is a safe cut. And this time we went down 24 centimeters. So that is a really, really deep wound. Yeah, that's a unique channel. I hit much, that time I hit much closer to the end of the blade. The previous time I hit a little too shallow, so it's possible I just need to get it in a better position. And then I was able to get deeper on it. And everyone needs to see what a katana does, right? This is from Ronin Katana on the Dojo Pro line, I believe. All right. Where is fresh meat? I'm going to strike over on this side. Okay. So that was about 18 centimeters. Pretty much right in the monouchi. I'm happy with that strike. I'm going to strike on the other sides. These, when I'm hitting it on the sides, it's much less stable, so it makes it a little bit harder to get a reliable strike, but I'm running out of space. If I aim really well, I might be able to hit my target right there. Let's see. How much do I strike? Trust my strike. And nope, I missed it. We just cut into one of the other targets. Let me try that again. There we go. Perfect. And that one made it to 18 and a half centimeters. Pretty good showing for 135 bucks. And finally, the Imperial Guard Changdao from LK Chen. All right, we struck an old channel, so I'll try one more time. Right over here. Well, it's going where no sword has gone before, but I keep on hitting old wounds. Let me see if I can strike a fresh one. I'll try it right there. There we go. So I didn't even quite hit the sweet spot, but already I'm getting to 25 centimeters. And you can see I'm quite a bit, I need to be up here in order to really hit the center of percussion. I'll try one way over here, but I'm probably going to knock my sword off the stands. And it did. All right. So I don't think I can count that one either, because it scooped the direction, the whole thing twisted, and it's scooped and it's put it right into another channel, although it did take the final cut all the way down to like 36 something centimeters. All I can say is this is cutting in excess of 24 centimeters and possibly in excess of 30 centimeters. So right now, the Imperial Guard Changdao just watch the graphic on the screen. So the Imperial Guard Changdao is currently winning this particular type of, again, I call it a fire axe style test, where we're just measuring cutting power against a single type of resistive medium that's going to bring the blade to a complete stop. A little surprising to see that the song Zhanmadao didn't perform a little bit better than this, and some of the lighter, thinner, faster swords were outperforming it. Remember that when you're talking about this type of cutting power, we have to consider the edge, and you also have to consider the force. So force is mass times acceleration squared. So if you're going faster, and in my case, I'm certainly able to accelerate other swords than the Zhanmadao faster, that could make the difference. Even if you have this massive, great, heavy blade, that extra inertia apparently is not sufficient to overcome the resistance of this target, and the speed may be more important than the inertia that's being carried by that huge 2.5 kilogram sword. This weighs basically the same amount as the Zhanmadao, but it's distributed completely differently. The much longer lever and able to come down faster, and a very, very keen edge with final edge geometry. So the huge greatsword, unsurprisingly, wins this particular contest. But good showings from the Albion, good showings from the very small katana. Katana's almost the size of a cutlass or a saber, but still used with the leverage of a two-handed sword, and it still held its own. So interesting test. Again, we can't compare directly to the one that came before, so don't use these numbers and compare them to the single-handed swords. Although, as you can see by the performance of the Landsknecht at the beginning, the two-handed swords were doing better than the single-handed swords, as we would expect from this type of a test. So you can at least imagine that we're talking about something that's a little bit stronger than the power that's being generated by most single-handed sword strikes. Okay, that's all for this go round. Until next time, guys, take care.